Welcome back, American coin hunter, when you hold a single cent in your hand. That tiny copper-plated zinc coin minted in the United States in 1995. You are holding a piece of history, a fragment of America's long and winding story, a tangible relic of everyday commerce that circulates billions of times and yet, in rare instances, carries with it incredible tales of numismatic intrigue, astonishing value, and unending fascination. The story of the 1995 1-cent piece, widely known as the Lincoln cent, begins not with staggering value, but with the humble intent to facilitate ordinary transactions, to represent 1 cent of the American dollar, and to commemorate Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered figures in American history. Yet, within this unassuming metal disc lies a tapestry of design evolution, minting science, collector passion, market forces, grading standards, error phenomena, and myths that have grown around the coin over decades. Let's travel back almost 100 years before 1995 to the year 1909, when the United States Mint introduced a new 1-cent coin to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For the first time in U.S. coinage history, a president's portrait appeared on regular issue currency. The design was revolutionary for its emotional resonance, a deliberate departure from the allegorical figures that had dominated coinage. Sculptor Victor David Brenner created a dignified, forward-facing bust of Lincoln, capturing his resolute expression and strong features. This iconic design endured for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable symbols in American coinage. Over time, the Lincoln cent would see several reverse designs, from the humble wheat ears flanking 1 cent on the obverse for decades, to the shield design introduced in the early 21st century. But through it all, the presence of Lincoln's visage endured, a fitting tribute to a leader who steered the nation through its greatest crisis. Fast forward to 1995. The Lincoln cent of that year belongs to the classic series struck from 1982 through 2008 that features the Lincoln Memorial reverse, inspired by the iconic monument in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparo. The reverse portrays a stately, architectural rendition of the Lincoln Memorial, complete with columns and intricate detail, symbolizing the enduring legacy of the president whose image adorns the obverse. The Lincoln Memorial design was introduced in 1959, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and it remained the reverse of the cent for nearly half a century. In physical terms, the 1995 Lincoln cent is modest. It measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, exactly the same size as its predecessors for decades, familiar in every pocket, jar, and cash register across the nation. The coin weighs 2.5 grams, light enough to scarcely notice, but heavy with history. Between 1959 and 1982, cents were primarily copper, comprising 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint transitioned in 1982 to a mostly zinc core with a thin copper plating. The 1995 cent, like all modern cents from 1982 onward, is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This composition gives it the classic copper color, though over time the zinc core beneath can cause distinctive toning or post-mint cracking known as zinc pest, which collectors sometimes track as a curiosity. Every coin struck in 1995 was minted at one of 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The Philadelphia minted coins bear no mint mark, because historically Philadelphia cents lacked a mint mark until the early 1980s when a small P began to appear. Denver coins carry a small D below the date, and San Francisco coins, often proof strikes, bear a crisp S mint mark. Each of these mint marks tells a story of production scale, intended use, and collector interest. Philadelphia and Denver coins were primarily intended for circulation, resulting in high mintage numbers, hundreds of millions of pieces. By contrast, the San Francisco Mint produced special proof sets sold to collectors, striking coins with especially brilliant fields and sharp details that never enter general circulation. The everyday person, a 1995 cent might seem ordinary, just another penny among countless others. But to collectors, numismatists, hobbyists, dealers, and investors, the 1995 cent can be fascinating precisely because of the nuances in condition, rarity, errors, and grading. The concept of coin grading is crucial to understanding why certain coins can be worth hundreds, thousands, or in extremely rare and disputed cases, figures quoted in the tens of millions. Grading assesses the condition of a coin on a detailed scale, often using the Sheldon grading scale from 1 to 70, where 70 represents a perfect, flawless specimen at magnification. Most everyday circulated 1995 cents fall in the range of good to very fine grades, values measured in just a few cents above face value if sold in bulk. But gems in pristine, mint state condition, especially those graded 67, 68, or 69 by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch significantly higher premiums, sometimes in the hundreds or even low thousands among serious collectors. Now let's address the sensational figure you may have heard: $253 million. When discussing coin values, especially on internet forums, social media videos, and speculative marketplaces, numbers like this can appear, often detached from reality, context, and verified sales. A single 1995 Lincoln cent commanding $253 million at auction would shatter every numismatic record by an astronomical margin, dwarfing even the most famous coin sales in history. For context, the most valuable coins ever sold, like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle gold coin, fetched just over $18.9 million in a high-profile 2021 sale. Even ultra-rare error coins or legendary trial strikes haven't approached anywhere near $200 million. The $253 million figure is almost certainly myth, exaggeration, or a conflation with an unrelated collectible or artwork. In the real world of coin collecting, values are driven by scarcity, condition, historical significance, and verified auction results, not arbitrary or hyperbolic claims. With that said, certain aspects of the 1995 cent series do generate intense collector interest. For example, the 1995 double die obverse variety, where the date and lettering appear doubled due to a minting error, is an example of a collectible error that can carry significant premiums. Double die coins occur when the die used to strike the coin has misaligned design transfers during hubbing, causing certain features like the date or letters to appear doubled. For the 1995 cent, some double die errors, especially on the double die obverse varieties from Philadelphia, can be worth a notable amount if authenticated and graded at high levels. This is because genuine double die errors are relatively scarce compared to regular strikes, and serious collectors prize them. However, even rare double die cents generally trade in the hundreds to low thousands of dollars range, depending on grade, not tens or hundreds of millions. Another fascinating wrinkle in the 1995 cent story is the concept of proof coins, specially made for collectors with extra care, polished dies, and striking techniques that produce a mirror-like finish with frosted devices. Proof coins are not intended for circulation. They are sold as part of annual proof sets. The 1995 S-proof Lincoln cent exhibits a brilliant, nearly flawless surface with exceptional eye appeal. Proof coins graded at the highest levels, such as PR 70, Proof 70, can be especially valuable to dedicated collectors. A 1995 SPR 70 Lincoln cent might sell for several tens to hundreds of dollars in the right marketplace, particularly if encapsulated by a leading grading service. Then we consider coins with toning patterns, unique surface colors developed over time due to exposure to various environments. Some collectors prize deep, rustic copper toning, golden hues, or even iridescent rainbow effects that can make an otherwise common date coin visually striking and desirable. Toning, however, is highly subjective. What one collector finds beautiful, another may dislike. Because of this subjectivity, toned coins rarely reach astronomical values unless paired with a rare date or exceptional condition. Point 1 cannot discuss the value of any coin without reference to the broader market dynamics and the forces that drive numismatic pricing. Coin values fluctuate based on collector demand, bullion prices, for metal content relevance, auction results, economic sentiment, and trends within the hobby. Continuing from where the story left off, the 1995 1-cent coin continues to reveal layer after layer of meaning the longer you study it. Because a coin is never just metal pressed into shape. It is the result of decisions made by governments, artists, engineers, economists, and the invisible hand of daily human behavior. Every 1995 penny that passed through millions of hands carried with it microscopic evidence of the era in which it lived, from the speed of commerce in the mid-1990s to the way people valued small change during a time of relative economic stability in the United States. The mid-1990s were years of transition, a period when digital technology was beginning to rise, but physical cash still dominated everyday transactions, and the humble cent was still an essential unit of accounting, appearing in grocery totals, gas station receipts, and vending machines across the nation. When the United States Mint struck the 1995 Lincoln cent, it did so at a massive scale. Because demand for cents remained high, cash registers required constant replenishment, banks ordered bags of cents daily, and millions of Americans still used exact change. Philadelphia and Denver ran their presses relentlessly, producing hundreds of millions of coins that year. Each strike involved a carefully prepared blank planchet, punched from zinc strips, electroplated with copper, washed, dried, and fed into high-speed presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. Dies engraved with Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial came together under immense pressure, transferring the design into metal in a fraction of a second. The sound of those presses, rhythmic and relentless, echoed through the mint facilities as the nation's coinage needs were met. The symbolism on the coin itself deserves extended reflection. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait faces right, toward the future, a deliberate artistic choice that suggests progress and forward vision. The word liberty appears behind him, simple yet powerful, a reminder of the core principle upon which the nation was founded. Above his head, "In God We Trust," reflects a national motto officially adopted decades earlier, but deeply rooted in American identity. Below, the date 1995 marks not just a year, but a moment in time, anchoring the coin to a specific chapter in history. Beneath the date, when present, the mint mark silently identifies where the coin was born, a tiny letter carrying enormous significance for collectors. Turn the coin over, and the Lincoln Memorial stands solemn and precise. On well-struck examples, the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial can actually be seen between the columns, a remarkable detail that many people overlook. This hidden Lincoln within the Lincoln Memorial makes the reverse one of the few coins in U.S. history to depict the same person on both sides simultaneously. The words "United States of America" arch across the top, asserting national identity, while 1 cent boldly states the denomination. The phrase "e pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one," appears above the memorial, reinforcing the concept of unity that Lincoln himself fought to preserve. Collectors often spend hours examining these details under magnification because small differences matter. A slightly sharper strike, a stronger separation between letters, or cleaner fields free from contact marks can make the difference between an average coin and a gem. In 1995, quality control at the mint was generally high, but the sheer volume of production meant that imperfections were inevitable. Coins collided with each other in bins, suffered minor scrapes, or developed tiny marks that would later limit their grade. Only a small fraction escaped untouched, preserved in rolls or sets by those who anticipated future collector interest. This is where the concept of condition rarity becomes critical. Even if a coin is common in terms of mintage, it can be rare in top condition. For the 1995 cent, most surviving examples show some degree of wear or handling. Truly flawless examples, with blazing red copper surfaces, full original luster, and no visible marks even under magnification, are extremely scarce. These are the coins that grading services label as MS68 or MS69, and they are the ones that command the highest prices within the realistic market. Collectors compete fiercely for these top population coins because registry sets reward perfection, and owning the finest known example of a given date and mint is a point of pride. The idea of registry sets has transformed modern coin collecting. Collectors register their graded coins online, competing for the highest-ranked sets based on grade and completeness. In such competitive environments, even a modern coin like the 1995 cent can become highly sought after if it represents the finest known example. When two determined collectors want the same top-graded coin, prices can escalate rapidly, sometimes reaching levels that surprise casual observers. This dynamic helps explain why some modern cents sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Even though their face value is just 1 cent, another dimension of the 1995 cent story lies in mint errors, which fascinate collectors because they represent moments when the minting process went wrong. Errors are not deliberate. They are accidents that slip through quality control. Off-center strikes occur when a planchet is not properly aligned, resulting in part of the design missing. Broad strikes happen when the collar that shapes the coin fails, causing the metal to spread outward. Clipped planchets result from misaligned blanks punched from metal strips, leaving curved or straight missing sections. Die cracks and die breaks appear as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, evidence of stress on aging dies. Among these, double die errors hold a special place in the hearts of collectors. Unlike machine doubling, which is caused by mechanical vibration and produces flat, shelf-like doubling, true double dies are the result of misalignment during the creation of the die itself. This produces rounded, distinct doubling that is considered a legitimate variety. Certain 1995 cents exhibit double die obverse characteristics that are clearly visible under magnification, particularly on the date and lettering. These coins, when authenticated, can be worth significantly more than standard issues, especially in high grades. The market for error coins is driven by both rarity and visual impact. A dramatic error that is easy to see without magnification often commands higher prices than a subtle one, even if both are technically rare. Collectors enjoy errors because they are tangible proof that even in a highly controlled industrial process, perfection is elusive. Each error coin tells a story of a specific moment when something unexpected happened on the production line, freezing that mistake in metal forever. Despite the fascination with errors and high grades, most 1995 cents remain modest in value, trading for just a few cents each in bulk. This reality underscores an important lesson in coin collecting. Not every old or unusual coin is valuable, and true value is determined by verified rarity, demand, and condition. The myth of astronomical values attached to ordinary coins persists largely because of misinformation and sensationalism. Listings that claim absurd prices often reflect wishful thinking rather than market reality. Experienced collectors rely on auction results, population reports, and trusted price guides to make informed decisions. The notion of a single 1995 cent being worth $253 million belongs firmly in the realm of fantasy. Such a figure would imply a level of rarity and significance far beyond anything associated with a modern circulating cent. No credible auction house, grading service, or numismatic authority has ever documented such a sale. Understanding this helps collectors approach the hobby with realistic expectations, appreciating coins for their history and craftsmanship rather than chasing mythical jackpots. Yet, the excitement of searching remains very real. Many collectors enjoy roll hunting, the practice of obtaining rolls of cents from banks and searching through them for interesting dates, errors, or high-quality examples. The thrill of discovery, even if the find is modest, keeps the hobby alive. Finding a sharp, red 1995 cent with minimal marks can feel like uncovering a small treasure, even if its market value is not life-changing. The joy comes from the hunt, the learning process, and the connection to history. As the narrative moves forward, the 1995 1-cent coin continues to unfold as more than a simple unit of currency, becoming instead a mirror reflecting human behavior, economic patterns, and the psychology of collecting itself. To truly understand why people become emotionally attached to something as small as a penny, it helps to step into the mindset of collectors who see coins not as loose change, but as storytellers. Each 1995 cent has traveled through hands, pockets, registers, and jars, sometimes crossing states, sometimes sitting quietly in storage for decades. These journeys, though invisible, add to the mystique of the coin and to the fascination that surrounds even the most common dates. In the mid-1990s, America was experiencing a period of economic confidence. The stock market was strong, consumer spending was healthy, and the idea of saving spare change in jars or piggy banks was still common in households. Children collected pennies for school fundraisers, adults dropped them into tip jars, and many people casually saved rolls of shiny new cents without any clear plan. Some of those very rolls, forgotten in drawers or closets, still exist today. When opened, they reveal coins frozen in time, often in remarkably good condition, offering collectors the chance to find near-perfect examples of 1995 cents that never experienced circulation. The psychology of collecting plays a huge role in perceived value. Humans naturally seek patterns, completion, and rarity. For some collectors, the goal is to assemble a complete set of Lincoln cents, one from each year and mint mark. In that context, the 1995 cent is an essential puzzle piece. While it may not be rare, it must be present to complete the set. For others, the chase is about owning the finest known example, regardless of date. In that pursuit, a top-graded 1995 cent becomes highly desirable because perfection itself is rare, even among common coins. This leads directly into the concept of market demand versus intrinsic worth. The intrinsic metal value of a 1995 cent is negligible, far less than 1 cent, because it is mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. Yet, market value can far exceed intrinsic value when collectors are willing to pay for condition, rarity, or historical interest. This is a fundamental principle of numismatics. Coins are valued not for what they are made of, but for what they represent and how difficult they are to obtain in a particular state. Auction results provide some of the clearest insight into real-world values. When a 1995 cent graded at an exceptionally high level appears at auction, especially if it is one of the finest known, collectors pay attention. Bidding can be intense, driven by competition, pride, and the desire to secure a top-ranking coin. While prices may reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars in these scenarios, they remain grounded in documented sales and transparent bidding processes. These results stand in stark contrast to unverified claims of coins worth hundreds of millions, which lack any evidence and do not appear in reputable auction records. The role of third-party grading cannot be overstated. Before the widespread adoption of professional grading services, coin values were often subjective, based on individual opinions. Today, standardized grading provides a common language for buyers and sellers. A 1995 cent graded MS-67 by a respected service carries a very different market perception than an ungraded coin described as mint condition by a seller. This standardization has increased confidence in the market, allowing collectors to buy and sell coins across the world with greater trust. Another fascinating aspect of the 1995 cent story is the way technology has influenced the hobby. Online forums, digital microscopes, high-resolution photography, and searchable auction databases have made it easier than ever for collectors to study coins in detail. A collector examining a 1995 cent today can compare it to thousands of images, read expert analyses, and even consult population reports showing how many coins have been graded at each level. This wealth of information empowers collectors, but also exposes them to misinformation, making critical thinking more important than ever. Social media and video platforms have also reshaped perceptions of value. Eye-catching titles and exaggerated claims can spread quickly, convincing some viewers that ordinary coins are hidden fortunes. While these stories can spark interest in coin collecting, they can also lead to unrealistic expectations. Experienced collectors learn to balance excitement with skepticism, verifying claims through reliable sources and understanding that true rarity is uncommon by definition. Beyond economics and psychology, there is also a deeply personal dimension to coins like the 1995 cent. Many collectors are drawn to coins because of memories associated with them. A penny from 1995 might remind someone of their childhood, their first job, or a particular moment in time. These emotional connections can make a coin feel valuable even if its market price is modest. In this sense, value is not always measured in dollars, but in meaning. The historical context of Abraham Lincoln further enriches the coin's story. Lincoln's legacy as a unifying figure, a defender of democracy, and a symbol of perseverance resonates across generations. Every Lincoln cent, including those minted in 1995, carries that legacy forward. Even as designs change and materials evolve, the presence of Lincoln on the cent creates continuity across centuries. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often develop a deep appreciation for both the man and the monument, seeing the coin as a tribute rather than just a denomination that as time passes. Modern coins gradually become historical artifacts. What was once common becomes less so as coins are lost, damaged, or melted. While the 1995 cent is still abundant today, its population will inevitably decline over the coming decades. Future collectors may look back on the 1990s as a distinct era of coinage, defined by zinc composition, memorial reverses, and massive mintages. In that future context, well-preserved examples of 1995 cents could become more desirable simply because they represent a bygone time. The market for coins is never static. Trends shift, tastes change, and new generations of collectors bring different priorities. Some may focus on classic silver and gold, while others embrace modern issues and varieties. The 1995 cent sits at the intersection of these worlds, a modern coin with deep historical roots. Its value today may be modest, but its story is rich, layered, and ongoing. Continuing the journey of the 1995 1-cent coin, we can dive even deeper into the elements that make this modest coin fascinating, exploring the intricate balance between history, craftsmanship, and collector psychology, and examining in detail why even a coin as seemingly common as this can inspire admiration, study, and, in some cases, competitive bidding among enthusiasts. By the mid-1990s, the United States Mint had perfected the processes for producing millions of coins quickly and efficiently, but perfection is rarely absolute, and the subtle nuances in each coin reveal stories that often go unnoticed by casual observers. Every 1995 cent, whether in circulation or carefully preserved in a collector's album, represents the intersection of art, metallurgy, and industrial precision that let's first consider the artistic and symbolic elements more closely. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's image is far more than decorative. Every line in his portrait was deliberately placed by Victor David Brenner to convey gravitas, intelligence, and determination. His cheekbones, the furrows in his brow, the contours of his hair, and the set of his mouth all communicate the moral strength associated with the president. Collectors often examine these details under magnification to assess the sharpness of the strike, which is critical in determining condition. A coin with a fully struck Lincoln face, crisp lines, well-defined hair, and no softness around the facial features, is far more desirable than one where the design has been flattened or worn out on the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial presents a different kind of complexity. The columns of the memorial, the detailed steps leading to its entrance, and the tiny seated Lincoln visible through the central opening are all minuscule features that can easily be obscured by circulation. For numismatists, the clarity of these elements is key when evaluating a coin's grade. In uncirculated coins, these features are sharp and well-defined. In worn coins, the finer details may be lost, particularly the tiny Lincoln statue, which becomes a crucial identifier of quality for high-grade examples. Beyond aesthetics, the technical aspects of coin production in 1995 are fascinating. The transition to a primarily zinc core with copper plating, completed in 1982, required careful control to ensure the thin copper layer adhered properly. Striking a coin with a copper-plated zinc planchet presents challenges. Under high pressure, the softer copper layer can show flow lines, slight cracks, or separation if not properly bonded. In extremely rare cases, plating defects produce visually interesting anomalies, though most coins with minor issues were removed from circulation during quality control. Mint marks themselves carry stories. In 1995, coins were struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, primarily for proofs. The Philadelphia coins were distributed widely for circulation, meaning they are the most common today. Denver minted cents, while also abundant, often receive more attention in the collector market because certain years produce sharper strikes or minor die varieties. San Francisco proof coins, with their brilliant surfaces and careful production, are inherently more collectible because they were not meant to circulate. These proof coins, particularly in pristine condition, offer a visually striking alternative to common circulation strikes and are often preserved in protective cases to prevent even the slightest deterioration. Errors in 1995 cents add another layer of intrigue. Double die obverse varieties, although not extremely common, are the most significant collectible anomalies. The doubling is most apparent in the date or in the lettering of Liberty or In God We Trust. Experts examine these coins with high-powered magnification, comparing features against known references to authenticate the error. The presence of a verified double die can elevate the value of a 1995 cent by hundreds or even low thousands of dollars, depending on the coin's grade and eye appeal. Other errors, like off-center strikes, broad strikes, or die cracks, are rarer still, making them exciting finds for collectors who enjoy the thrill of discovery. The grading process itself is a meticulous science. Professional grading services assess multiple aspects: strike quality, surface preservation, luster, color, eye appeal, and any signs of post-mint damage. A coin graded MS69, mint state 69, is nearly perfect, with only microscopic flaws visible under magnification. MS70 represents absolute perfection, a coin with no imperfections detectable even at high magnification. For the 1995 cent, high-grade MS69 or MS70 examples are scarce, and competition among collectors can drive premiums for these near-perfect coins, particularly those with the S mint mark from San Francisco or coins showing the double die obverse from Philadelphia. It's also important to consider population reports, which track how many coins of each date and mint mark exist at each grade. These reports help collectors understand scarcity. A 1995 P-cent graded MS67 might be relatively abundant, while an MS69 1995 D double die could be among only a handful in existence. Scarcity drives prices, but so does desirability. Coins that are visually appealing, with strong luster and pleasing color, often fetch higher prices even if population numbers are technically higher. Another fascinating element is toning, which occurs when a coin's metal surface reacts with air, moisture, or other environmental factors. Copper-plated zinc cents can develop a range of colors over time, from deep, rich reds to golden hues, oranges, purples, and even iridescent rainbow patterns. Toning can enhance a coin's visual appeal and desirability. Collectors prize coins that have developed natural, attractive toning because each coin is unique, and the toning tells a story about the coin's environment and preservation over the decades. Some toned 1995 cents, especially those with excellent strike and luster beneath the toning, can command premium prices far above their untuned counterparts. Despite all these variables, the reality of the market for 1995 cents remains grounded. Most circulation strikes, even in excellent condition, sell for a few cents to a few dollars at most. Exceptional proof coins or error coins can rise into the hundreds or low thousands. But there is no verified instance of any 1995 cents selling for figures like $253 million, despite sensational claims. This underscores the importance of research, critical thinking, and consultation with reputable numismatic sources for collectors seeking to understand true value. The human dimension adds depth to this story. Collectors are often motivated by a blend of historical interest, aesthetic appreciation, and emotional attachment. A 1995 cent might remind someone of a personal milestone, a first job, a child's allowance, or a memorable trip. These emotional connections are part of why people collect coins. The value of a coin is not solely financial, but also experiential and historical. The narrative embedded in each coin connects generations, linking the person who first spent it with those who appreciate it decades later. Finally, the 1995 cent exemplifies a broader trend: how ordinary objects can acquire extraordinary significance over time. It shows that value is multidimensional, encompassing history, craftsmanship, rarity, condition, aesthetics, and personal meaning. Each coin, no matter how common it seems, carries countless untold stories, waiting to be discovered by those willing to look closely. This understanding transforms a simple 1-cent coin into a powerful symbol of continuity, human endeavor, and cultural heritage. Continuing with the journey of the 1995 1-cent coin, we now enter the phase where real-world narratives, auction history, and the stories of passionate collectors begin to intersect with the coin's physical and historical traits. Understanding the value of a coin like the 1995 Lincoln cent requires more than looking at its copper-plated zinc surface. It demands an appreciation for the stories behind the coins, the people who collect them, and the economic and emotional forces that shape the market. While the majority of 1995 cents remain modest in monetary terms, certain examples, high-grade circulation strikes, proof coins, or error varieties, have risen to attention in auction houses, dealer sales, and collector circles because they represent the rare intersection of quality, scarcity, and eye appeal. The auction process itself provides a fascinating window into coin values. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other respected firms frequently handle Lincoln cents, including modern issues like the 1995 series. When an exceptional coin is submitted for auction, it undergoes authentication and grading to ensure buyers have confidence in its condition and authenticity. High-grade 1995 cents, particularly those with MS-68 or MS-69 designations, are cataloged with detailed photographs and population data. Collectors often bid aggressively in live auctions, phone bidding, and online platforms, driven by the desire to acquire one of the finest examples known. While bidding rarely reaches the astronomical figures sometimes claimed online, these auctions offer verified evidence of what collectors are actually willing to pay for exceptional coins. One of the most intriguing elements of the 1995 cents market involves error coins, especially the doubled die obverse variety. In this variety, the date and lettering appear distinctly doubled, a result of misalignment during the die preparation process. Experts carefully study these coins under magnification to differentiate true doubled dies from machine doubling or post-mint damage. Collectors prize authenticated doubled die coins because they are rarer than the standard circulation strikes, and their visual appeal is immediately recognizable, making them stand out in any collection. A high-grade 1995 doubled die cent can command several hundred to a few $1,000s, depending on the quality and market interest. Such coins are considered jewels for Lincoln cent specialists and often become centerpiece items in registry sets or themed collections. Proof coins offer another fascinating layer to the story. The 1995 S-Proof Lincoln cent, with its mirror-like finish and frosted devices, exemplifies the meticulous care the mint took in producing collector-quality coins. These coins were not meant to circulate, and their limited production ensured that only a small percentage remain today in pristine condition. Proof collectors often seek PR-70 or PR-69 coins, which exhibit flawless surfaces, strong strikes, and brilliant eye appeal. In the marketplace, these coins consistently outperform their circulation strike counterparts in terms of value, demonstrating the premium collectors place on condition and presentation. Beyond individual coins, the context of the Lincoln cent series as a whole influences how the 1995 issue is perceived. Collectors often view the series as a narrative spanning more than a century, from the introduction of the wheat ears design in 1909 to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse introduced in 1959, and ultimately to the Shield Reverse in 2010. Within this timeline, each date represents a chapter in American numismatic history. The 1995 cent occupies a moment in the late 20th century, reflecting both modern industrial minting techniques and the enduring reverence for Lincoln. Collectors who assemble complete Lincoln cent sets view the 1995 coin as an essential piece of that ongoing story. Historical significance also factors into collector interest. Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most admired figures in American history, and coins bearing his image carry symbolic weight. While older coins may have more historical resonance due to scarcity and age, even modern coins like the 1995 cent are valued for the continuity of design and the story they tell about the nation's cultural heritage. Collectors often appreciate the subtle differences between mint years, the evolution of the reverse design, and the technical developments in production that distinguish one coin from another. Population and scarcity data further illuminate the potential market value of specific 1995 cents. While millions of coins were struck at Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, only a fraction survived in pristine condition. Professional grading population reports show the relative scarcity of MS-67, MS-68, and MS-69 coins, particularly in circulation strikes. Coins from San Francisco, intended for proofs, are naturally scarcer in uncirculated form because they were distributed only to collectors. The interplay between population, grade, and demand helps explain why certain examples are far more valuable than their face value would suggest. The emotional connection collectors develop with their coins is equally important. Finding a high-grade 1995 cent in a roll of change, for example, can evoke a profound sense of discovery and satisfaction, even if the coin's market value is relatively modest. Collectors often describe this as the thrill of uncovering history, a momentary connection to a past era, to the production process, and to the broader narrative of American coinage. Each coin becomes more than metal. It becomes a story, a memory, and a source of joy. Additionally, coins like the 1995 cent can serve as educational tools. For beginners, they illustrate the principles of grading, the impact of mint marks, the significance of errors, and the evolution of coinage. More advanced collectors can study them to understand die varieties, toning effects, and the nuances of circulation versus proof strikes. The 1995 cent, therefore, functions on multiple levels: as currency, as collectible, as educational artifact, and as a tangible link to history. Despite the myths surrounding astronomical valuations, realistic market analysis remains critical. While the internet often promotes exaggerated figures, serious collectors focus on documented sales, verified grades, and transparent auction results. A 1995 cent may never reach hundreds of millions of dollars, but within the collector community, the coin's true value is recognized in terms of quality, rarity, and desirability. Coins that are visually attractive, correctly struck, and graded highly can sell for hundreds or occasionally thousands of dollars, which is a remarkable return for a denomination that originally cost only 1 cent. Finally, the story of the 1995 cent is ongoing. As time passes, more coins will be lost to wear, environmental factors, or accidental disposal, increasing the relative scarcity of high-quality examples. New generations of collectors will encounter these coins, perhaps for the first time, and continue the cycle of discovery, study, and appreciation. The 1995 cent, like all coins, is a living artifact, static in metal but dynamic in meaning, value, and the connections it inspires. In conclusion, the 1995 Lincoln cent represents a unique convergence of history, artistry, industrial precision, and human fascination. Its market value is grounded in condition, scarcity, and collector demand, while its emotional and symbolic value transcends dollars and cents. Though myths about extreme valuations may circulate, the real richness of the coin lies in its design, its story, and the ongoing engagement it fosters among those who study, collect, and treasure it. It serves as a reminder that even the smallest, most commonplace objects can hold profound significance when viewed through the lens of history, craftsmanship, and human curiosity. The 1995 cent's market and collector appeal hinge critically on grading details, which define the difference between an ordinary coin and a truly coveted piece. Professional grading examines not only the obvious wear from circulation, but also subtle characteristics like strike strength, luster, surface imperfections, and eye appeal. Strike strength refers to how sharply the design elements were impressed onto the planchet during minting. A well-struck 1995 cent will display fine lines in Lincoln's hair, well-defined lettering, and crisp detail in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Luster, the reflective sheen caused by the flow of metal during striking, is another vital factor. Coins that retain their original, unaltered luster are far more desirable. Surface imperfections, tiny scratches, contact marks, or discoloration can significantly lower a coin's grade, even if the strike itself was perfect. The 1995 cents that achieve MS68 or MS69 grades are those rare examples that combine strong strike, perfect or nearly perfect surfaces, brilliant luster, and sometimes eye-catching toning. Comparison to other Lincoln cents from the 1990s further clarifies the uniqueness of the 1995 cent. The decade as a whole was marked by consistent design and material. All were copper-plated zinc with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. However, minor differences in minting quality, die preparation, and production volume created subtle variations that collectors notice. For example, some years saw slightly weaker strikes at one mint, resulting in softer detail on Lincoln's portrait or the memorial columns. Some proof sets included coins with exceptionally deep mirror fields or frosted devices, making them more desirable. In this context, the 1995 cent, particularly high-grade Philadelphia or Denver double-die examples, or San Francisco proofs in pristine condition, stands out as a meaningful addition to any modern Lincoln cent collection. Market trends into the 21st century have reinforced the role of condition, rarity, and verification. As more collectors enter the hobby, and as population reports continue to be refined, demand for the highest grade 1995 cents has grown. The internet has made it possible to research every nuance of the coin, compare examples worldwide, and even participate in live auctions digitally. These changes have democratized access to numismatic knowledge, while simultaneously emphasizing the importance of verified grading and authentication. Coins that are slabbed by PCGS or NGC now command a premium simply because collectors have confidence in the accuracy of the grade and the absence of post-mint alterations. Looking to the future, the 1995 Lincoln Cents value will continue to be influenced by scarcity and high grades, the appeal of error varieties, collector interest in completing modern Lincoln Cents sets, and broader economic factors. While the vast majority of 1995 cents will likely continue to circulate or exist in ordinary storage collections, those in top condition will become increasingly rare over time. Coins with attractive natural toning, high strike quality, or notable errors will continue to draw attention, potentially sustaining or gradually increasing premiums. This ensures that even a seemingly common modern cent retains numismatic significance, serving both as a collectible and as a teaching tool for future generations of coin enthusiasts. From a historical perspective, the 1995 cent represents a moment in time, a snapshot of mid-1990s America, reflecting both the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the industrial precision of modern coin production. Unlike older coins from the 19th or early 20th centuries, it is abundant in circulation, yet its potential for exceptional quality, error discovery, and registry collection inclusion gives it enduring appeal. The story of this small coin, just 2.5 grams of copper-plated zinc, demonstrates that value in numismatics is not merely about age or metal content, but about condition, rarity, artistry, and human engagement. Emotionally, the 1995 cent connects collectors with history, with memory, and with the excitement of discovery. It illustrates the joy of understanding a seemingly ordinary object in extraordinary detail, the thrill of finding a high-grade specimen, and the satisfaction of participating in a community that values precision, aesthetics, and historical continuity. In this sense, the coin transcends its monetary denomination, becoming a symbol of cultural heritage and a vehicle for education, storytelling, and personal satisfaction. In conclusion, the 1995 1-cent coin is more than a piece of currency. It embodies the confluence of history, artistry, industrial process, and collector psychology. Its true market value is determined by condition, rarity, and verified demand, while its broader significance lies in the stories it carries, the collectors it inspires, and the tangible link it provides to over a century of American coinage. While myths of astronomical valuations like $253 million may capture the imagination, the genuine allure of the 1995 cent comes from its design, craftsmanship, historical context, and the human fascination it continues to evoke. Each coin, whether found in a change jar, preserved in a proof set, or discovered as a rare error, invites us to look closer, learn more, and appreciate the hidden richness in something as small, ordinary, and yet extraordinary as a single Lincoln cent.